Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to Sade Sports Talk. My name is Sade, and if you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for your weekly sports updates. If you've been here before and you still haven't subscribed, again, what's going on with that? Just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt anybody. So first up, I've got to go with the hometown highlights. Sadly, the Houston Astros lost 11-4 to the Texas Rangers in Game 7 of the ALCS, ending the Astros' chances of going back-to-back World Series. This is the second time in history an all-road team has won every game, which is crazy. Like, nobody in the series wanted to win at home. Then after the game, manager Dusty Baker announced that he is sadly stepping down. Next up, the Houston Rockets lost to the San Antonio Spurs 126-122 in the overtime loss, and the Rockets have now opened the season with back-to-back losses. Center Alperen Sengun led the team in scoring with 25 points and also had 14 rebounds and 7 assists. Fred VanVleet was second in the scoring with 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists. The Rockets' next game is at Golden State on Sunday. Houston Texans, childhood friends and top 2 picks of the NFL draft, QB CJ Stroud and Bryce Young face each other for the first time professionally. Texans receive a big boost with wide receiver Tank Dell making a return after missing last game with a concussion. He ranks second on the team with 324 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Coverage of this game starts at 12 p.m. today on Fox. Lastly, the Houston Dynamo faced Real Salt Lake City in the best-of-3 series in the first round of the MLS Cup playoffs. The last time these two teams faced off, Dynamo won 3-0 in Salt Lake. Kickoff is today at 5 p.m. and will be streaming on Apple TV. So keeping in the soccer world, we're going to some women's soccer. The UEFA Women's Nations League Match Day 3. First up, Spain versus Italy. World champion Spain won 1-0 thanks to Jenny Hermosa getting the lone goal in the 89th minute. Spain dominated this game with 72% possession and 19 shots compared to Italy's 2. Spain sit at the top of the table with 9 points and next face Switzerland at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, while Italy sit in third place with 3 points and face Sweden on Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. And both of these games will be streamed on YouTube. Next up, France versus Norway. France beat Norway 2-1. With France having won the deadliest tanks in Europe, they struggled to get going in this game. The hero in this game ended up being Captain Wendy Renard, who is the center back. It was her 37th goal of her country, and she now enters in the top 5 scorers in history. France are now top of the table with a perfect record, while Norway are last with just 1 point. These two teams get a rematch on Tuesday, and the game will be streaming on YouTube with a 3 p.m. kickoff time. Netherlands versus Scotland. The Dutch ran rampant against Scotland with the 4-0 win. Danielle van de Donk opened the scoring in the 12th minute, and the second-hand brace from Jeanette Berenstein closed out the game for the Dutch. Scotland only had 33% possession and just 2 shots on target and didn't really show any signs of making a comeback. Netherlands sit at the top of the group while Sweden are last. Scotland gets a chance to reverse the result when they meet again on Tuesday. England versus Belgium. England dominated the game but only came away with 1 goal after having 23 shots. Lauren Hemp got the goal in the 13th minute. In the 13th minute after the ball pinged around the box and fell to her feet, and when she volleyed it home. Fran Kirby made her return to the pitch after being a year out due to a knee injury. England are now in second place in the group and level on points with Netherlands at 6, while Belgium on third with 4 points. Both of these teams face off again on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Lastly, in women's soccer, the U.S. women in Colombia played in the 0-0 draw friendly in Sandy, Utah, with forward Jaden Shaw of the San Diego Wave getting her first international cap. These two teams play again today at 4:30 p.m. and will be streaming on HBO Max. Now moving on to some men's soccer. Chelsea versus Brentford. Now for all of you know that I am a huge Chelsea fan. If you didn't, well I am. And my team is struggling right now. And I'm not really too sure what's going on. We need to get it together. But Chelsea lost 2-0 to Brentford. And with this win, Brentford are the first ever side to win their first 3 away games against Chelsea in Premier League history. And I don't know what's going on. Chelsea have invested so much in the squad, I think like $1 billion, and they aren't performing up to their standards. A team like Brentford, Chelsea should knock out of the water, like 3-4-0 with the talent that this squad has. But Chelsea now dropped down to 11th place, while Brentford moved up in the table to 10th. Arsenal versus Sheffield United. Arsenal won 5-0 thanks to Eddie Nketiah scoring his first Premier League hat-trick. Arsenal now moved to second and are 2 points behind leaders Tottenham, while Sheffield United are the only team in the Premier League without a win. Next up, Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 24 home league games against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool have lost just one of their last 46 Premier League games at Anfield. Nottingham Forest have drawn all 3 games in October and haven't drawn 4 consecutive league games since January 2016. They also have dropped more points from winning positions than any other side. This game is currently streaming live now on Peacock, and the halftime score is 2-0 to Liverpool. Next up, in the big game, in the Manchester Derby, we have Manchester United versus Manchester City. Last time these two teams faced off, United had a come-from-behind victory with the scoreline being 2-1, and United will be looking to win consecutive home league games against City. Man City have won more Premier League away games against Man United than any other side, with 7 of their last 8 wins at Old Trafford coming in their last 12 visits. Manchester United have won their last 2 Premier League games in close encounters, while both games having a 2-1 scoreline, while Man City have lost their last 2 Premier League away games. Kickoff is today at 10:30 a.m. and will be streaming on Peacock. Next up, El Clasico, Real Madrid versus Barcelona. This game was a classic, with Real Madrid winning 2-1 thanks to the signing of the summer Jude Bellingham, who scored 2 goals in a come-from-behind victory. Barca opened the scoring in the 6th minute thanks to Ilkay Gundogan. And Barcelona dominated this game, so the fact that they didn't win was crazy. Like, they were all over Real Madrid in the first half, but Madrid, man, they just have this winning mentality, and Jude Bellingham, he scored a cracker of a tying goal, and then he scored in stoppage time to make sure his team came away with all 3 points. So, good debut, Jude Bellingham, in the El Clasico. Keep it up, man. Next up, Bayern versus Darmstadt 98. Harry Kane scored a hat-trick as they routed Darmstadt 98 8-0. Bayern got off to a rough start with Joshua Kimmich getting a red card, but that didn't slow Bayern down at all. Darmstadt 98 also had 2 players sent off in the first half, which gave Bayern an advantage of 10 men to 9 men. Harry Kane got the first of his 3 in the 51st minute to open the scoring, but his second was a worldly goal, scoring from the halfway line and chipping the keeper. Bayern now moved back to the top of Bundesliga, a point above Bayern Leverkusen. Inter versus Roma. Inter are unbeaten in 11 of their last 12 league matches against Roma, winning 4 of their last 5. Inter has the most wins against Roma in Serie A, 76, and scored the most goals, 293. Roma are unbeaten in 4 of their last 6 away games against Inter in the league, winning the last one. The last time Roma won successive away games against Inter was between 2012 and 2013. And this game has a little bit of interesting storylines to it. Jose Mourinho used to coach Inter, and he won the treble with them. And then also Romelu Lukaku is also used to play for Inter last season, so he's making a return against his former team as well. Kickoff of this game is today at 12 p.m. and will be streaming on Paramount Plus. Napoli versus Milan. Napoli have lost only 3 of their last 9 league matches against Milan, but did lose the most recent meeting by 4-0. Napoli have lost 2 of the last 3 home games in Serie A. AC Milan, meanwhile, have won their last 3 Serie A away matches against Napoli and have won 7 of their first 9 matches in Serie A this season and have a chance to get their 8th in 10 games, which would be the 3rd time in their last 4 league seasons that they have accomplished it. Kickoff is today at 2:45 p.m. and will be streaming on Paramount Plus. Lastly, in men's soccer, we have PSG versus Brest in the early morning 7 a.m. game. PSG beat Brest 3-2 in a thriller. Going into halftime, PSG was leading 2-1 and Brest equalized in the 52nd minute. And the game was 2-2 up until the 89th minute. Forward Colomani earned his side a penalty. Kylian Mbappe stepped up to take it and first missed, but then was able to score on the rebound to assure PSG walked away with all 3 points. Mbappe now has 250 club goals at just the age of 24. He now has 173 League One goals, which is tied for 11th in competition history, and he has 9 goals and 9 league games. Those are video game numbers, and this kid is just 24 years old. A year younger than me. He's out here scoring goals against grown men. Moving on, we got some college football. Colorado Buffaloes versus 23 UCLA Bruins. Colorado lost their second straight game 28-16 to the Bruins. UCLA had a slender 7-6 lead at halftime and then scored on 3 of their first 4 drives in the second half to take control of the game. Buffalo's quarterback Shedeur Sanders was sacked 7 times in this game, and Colorado's O-line has allowed 42 sacks, with this being the most in the league. Safety Shiloh Sanders was ejected in the second quarter for targeting when his shoulder hit UCLA tight end Carson Ryan connected to the chin and face mask area. Colorado has now dropped 4 of their last 5 games and have a tough schedule ahead to find 2 wins to become bowl eligible. Colorado next hosts Oregon State next Saturday, while UCLA travels to Arizona. Number 7 Texas Longhorns versus BYU Cougars. Texas Longhorns beat BYU 35-6 with QB Malik Murphy having an impressive college debut start with 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense and special teams also came up big to help him, with the defense holding BYU to only 113 yards, and special teams opened the scoring with Xavier Worthy returning a punt for 74 yards to the end zone. Texas now hosts Kansas State next weekend, while BYU goes to West Virginia. Number 8, Oregon Ducks versus number 13, Utah Utes. Oregon got a big 35-6 win over their Pac-12 rivals, Utah, with this game now having Pac-12 title implications on the line. QB Bo Nix threw 248 yards and had 2 touchdowns to snap the Utes' 18-game home winning streak. Utah only averaged 3.7 yards per play while surrendering 6.7 yards to Oregon, which is not like their stingy defense. Oregon's offensive line protected Bo Nix well against a Utah defense that hasn't had a sack in the game since week 2. Next up for Oregon, they host California on Saturday, while Utah hosts Arizona State. Lastly in college football, number 24 USC Trojans versus California Golden Bears. USC got a much-needed 50-49 win over California. USC were trailing by 11 points at halftime but scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to take the lead 50-43. California QB Fernando Mendoza of the Golden Bears drove his team 79 yards to score and had a chance to tie the game, but instead they went for the 2-point conversion but weren't able to pull it off to get the win. Caleb Williams had his best game following 2 disappointing performances in back-to-back losses with 369 yards and 2 rushing and 2 passing TDs. USC now goes home and starts a tough 3-game stretch against Washington, number 5 Washington, number 8 Oregon, and number 23 UCLA, while California travels to face number 8 Oregon next Saturday. In the NBA world, Denver Nuggets versus Memphis Grizzlies. Reigning NBA champs Denver Nuggets won this game 108-104 and now have won their opening 2 games of the season. Center Nikola Jokic had 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists, just 3 assists shy of a triple-double, while point guard Jamal Murray also contributed with 22 points. The Grizzlies had a 98-97 lead halfway through the fourth quarter, but a Jokic three-pointer and offensive putback put the Nuggets back in driving position. Jaren Jackson Jr. led Memphis with 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks, while Marcus Smart finished with 20 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. The champions now head to Oklahoma City on Sunday, while the Grizzlies travel to Washington to face the Wizards. New York Knicks versus Atlanta Hawks. Jalen Brunson hit a career high of 8 3-pointers and ended with 31 points to help the Knicks to a 126-120 win over the Hawks. R.J. Barrett also had a strong showing with contributing 26 points, and power forward Julius Randle chimed in with 17 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. Atlanta head coach Quinn Snyder was quoted saying that his team was lacking execution in a lot of situations. DeAndre Hunter led the team with 27 points, and point guard Trae Young contributed with 12 assists, but had another rough shooting night going 4 for 16 and 2 for 5 from 3-point. The Knicks now visit New Orleans today, and the Hawks travel to Milwaukee on Sunday. Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics. In a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals, The Celtics got the better end this time around, beating the Heat 119-111. Point guard Derek White was the hero as he scored 28 points, with 14 of those coming in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown added 27 points and 6 rebounds, while Jason Tatum finished with 22 points. Anytime these teams play each other, though, it's always a battle. And this game was no different, with there being 6 ties and 6 lead changes. Tyler Hero of the Heat, who missed last year's playoffs, had 28 points and 5 of Miami's 16 three-pointers. Center Bam Adebayo added 27 points and 7 rebounds, and Jimmy Butler didn't have his best shooting night, finishing with 14 points on 3 of 11 shooting. Dallas Mavericks versus Brooklyn Nets. Luka Doncic was the star of the night, scoring 49 points and scored a tie-breaking right-handed heave three-point shot to lead the Mavericks to a 125-120 win. When asked about when asked after the game about the circus shot, Luka was quoted saying, "I work on that. I work off the backboard." He also had 10 rebounds and 7 assists. This was the first game between the two sides after Dallas sent Spencer Dinwiddie and Finley Smith to Brooklyn in exchange for Kyrie Irving. Dallas goes to Memphis on Monday, while the Nets travel to Charlotte to face the Hornets. Lastly, Golden State Warriors versus Sacramento Kings. Steph Curry scored 41 points in a 122-114 win, which was a rematch of last season's first-round playoffs, where Curry scored 50 points to eliminate the Kings in Game 7. Curry scored 16 points in the third quarter to take control of the game. The Kings mounted a late rally with scoring 10 straight points to cut the leads down to 5 with a minute and 15 left in the game. De'Aaron Fox led the Kings with 39 points, and Sabonis added 19 points, 18 rebounds, and 7 assists. Next up, the Kings host the Lakers today, while the Warriors travel to Houston. Some other NBA games you guys can check out over the week. Spurs versus Clippers. Today, 8 p.m. on NBA TV. Heat versus Bucks comes on Monday at 7 p.m. and you can catch that on Stream East. Spurs versus Sun, Tuesday, 9 p.m. and that game will be on TNT. Then lastly, Clippers versus Lakers comes on 9 p.m. on ESPN Thursday. Winners and whiffs. So I didn't do so bad this week. I went 3 for 3. Got half right, got half wrong. Milan versus Juventus. I had Milan winning this game, and Juventus won by a narrow 1-0 win. Manuel Locatelli scored the winning goal in the 63rd minute after Malik Thal got sent off in the 40th minute. Barcelona versus Athletic Club. My pick was Barcelona to win this game, and they got a hard-fought 1-0 victory thanks to La Masia player Marc Gui coming off the bench and scoring with his first touch. Moving on to my NFL picks. Lions versus the Ravens. I had the Lions winning this game, and they got millywhopped 38-6 by the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is now 16-1 against NFC teams. So whenever Lamar Jackson is facing against the NFC team, pick the Ravens. Don't pick the NFC team. Next up, Chargers versus Chiefs. My pick was the Chiefs, and they won comfortably 31-17. Mahomes threw for 424 yards and 4 TDs, as Travis Kelce had 12 receptions for 179 yards and 1 touchdown, showing off for his girlfriend Taylor Swift because she was in attendance. Dolphins versus Eagles. I had the Eagles in this game, and they won 31-17 with Jalen Hurts throwing for 279 yards, 1 throwing TD, and 1 rushing TD. Wide receiver A.J. Brown also had a big game with 10 receptions for 137 yards and 1 touchdown. 49ers versus Vikings. My pick was the 49ers, but they ended up losing. This was their second game that they dropped in a row, losing 22-17. QB Brock Purdy threw 2 late interceptions that helped the Vikings hang on for the victory. Now, last up, GameChanger must-see matchups and picks. So my picks this week are games that's coming on midweek, and then I got some NFL games that come on today. So in the EFL Cup, Arsenal versus West Ham United, I'm going with Arsenal to win this game and advance to the next round. They are currently on a 2-game win streak and are high on confidence. West Ham have lost their last 2 and will be looking to get a very much needed win, but I think Arsenal will be able to hang in there and get a win. Kickoff is at 2:30 p.m. Wednesday and will be streaming on ESPN+. Liverpool versus AFC Bournemouth. I got Liverpool going to the next round of the tournament. They have won 3 of the last 4 games and had a big 5-1 win midweek in the Europa League. Bournemouth, meanwhile, have lost 3 of the last 4, and that lone win came yesterday against Burnley. Kickoff is at 2:45 p.m. Wednesday and will be streaming on ESPN Plus. Chelsea versus Blackburn Rovers. I'm going with Chelsea in this game because I'm looking for them to bounce back after a disappointing loss to Brentford over the weekend. The Rovers have won 3 of the last 4, but with having to face an inferior opponent like Chelsea, I think they won't be handled the waves of attack. Kickoff is at 2:45 p.m. and Wednesday and will be on ESPN Plus. Lastly, for my EFL picks, Manchester United versus Newcastle United. This is a really tough game to pick a winner, but I think I'm going to go with Manchester United just because they have more quality players, even though United are a team struggling themselves. Newcastle are also a team that's struggling. They haven't picked up a win in their recent games, but I just think Manchester United just has more better players, and I think they should be able to handle Newcastle United. So now for my NFL picks, New York Jets versus the New York Giants. I got the Jets taking the win in this one. They won their and potentially pick up their third straight win and improve to 4-3. They're coming off a bye week, so I'm expecting offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett to have come up with some different schemes that are more suitable for quarterback Zach Wilson to gain him some confidence. Game comes on today at 12 p.m. and will be on CBS. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings versus Green Bay Packers. I got the Vikings winning this divisional game and extending their winning streak to 3 games in a row. Kirk Cousins is playing out of his mind, even without Justin Jefferson. Rookie wide receiver Jordan Addison is stepping up, and Green Bay, their quarterback is just horrible. He's not completing. He has a very low completion rate, and I think the Vikings should be able to pick up the win here. Especially the Vikings defense gonna be blitzing Jordan Love a lot, so I don't think he'll be able to cope. This game starts at 12 p.m. today and will be on Fox. Chiefs versus Broncos in the AFC West Showdown. I got the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is 16-0 on the road in the division and hasn't lost to the Broncos in 11 tries. This game is going to be pretty tough because it's snowing pretty heavy right now in Denver. But I don't think that should stop anything. I got the Chiefs. I think it might be an ugly win because of the weather, but I still got them winning this game. Coverage coverage of this game comes starts at 3:25 p.m. and will be on CBS. Lastly, the Bengals versus the 49ers. I get the Bengals in this game. They're coming off a bye week, and Burrow should be more healthy after suffering from a calf injury that has been affecting him for the better part of the season. The 49ers have lost their last 2 straight games, and the defense has looked up to par in those losses. And I just don't think that they'll be able to stop Joe Burrow, especially now with he should be more healthy. And I think, I don't think the 49ers are going to have an answer for him. You can catch this game today at 3:25 p.m. on CBS. Well, all right, guys, that's all I got for y'all today. Make sure you guys check back next Sunday for my next episode. And again, thank you all for the support. Y'all have a good one.